And welcome again to part two of Gordon Bowden with Caroline Stevens. Gordon Bowden is ex-RAF. He has done a great deal of research. And Pandora's box. So Pandora takes us to a trip to Grenfell Towers and Finchley Road. Mics are going hot, and Caroline, you're on the air.
Welcome, I'm Caroline Stevens. I'm the presenter on Stepping Stones to Awareness. This is part two of a two-part series. I'm interviewing Gordon Bowden. He's from up north, and Gordon is going to take us along to Finchley Road and also to visit Grenfell Towers. So Gordon, this is part two. We spoke to you on part one, and we uncovered numerous MPs and very important people who have been investing their time in taking your money. Over to you, Gordon.
Yeah, sadly, by understanding how you dismantle these, what I call boiler rooms, or facilitating admin addresses, or company formations agents like Company Directors Limited, or Temple Secretaries, or A1 Company Services, or Centrum nominees, they all came out of a sequence of addresses in Finchley and Finchley Road.
So these are shell companies basically set up. They're actually set up with the purpose of defrauding Joe Public.
Well, not just Joe Public, but they are facilitating addresses where a lot of high-profile people would use these addresses in Finchley, like Winnington House, 2 Woodbury Grove, Ascot House, 2 Woodbury Grove, Elscott House in Arcadia, is that they would use these addresses that when you checked the companies that were formed out of there, they linked to senior politicians, not just here, but in America, in Australia, in South Africa, which seemed to be a facilitating address. Are you mic'd up?
Yep, I'm mic'd up. So the facilitating address. So where does the money eventually end up?
Well, I would say, looking at some of the mining companies, they would be like dual listed companies on the Toronto Stock Exchange, or they would have subsidiary companies. So in order to asset strip a parental company, all they were doing was loaning money to the subsidiary for exploration. And once that company had used up the loaned money, it was then written off. So it's just the modus operandi of stealing vast amount of money. And what I found was there were certain addresses that were conduit addresses, like 5 Jupiter House, Calaver Park, Aldermaston. There was Quadrant House, floor 6, 4 Thomas More Square in London. I said, I've got every single conduit address that when you wanted to do a backtrack of the companies and who was involved, facilitating the movement of those companies, it went beyond coincidence, and I'll explain where the link came to Grenfell Tower. The Grenfell Tower link to me came through the cladding companies, which were responsible for the repairs or the recladding. And if I can just reach over, I'll grab them now.
This is nationwide company, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I've got in front of me here, you can see, this is from Companies House. The companies that were named in the major media were Harley Curtain Wall Limited. That was 03244-209. That's the company number. And it was active for 22 years. But when you check the action, it's in liquidation. If you use Companies House, Company Check, companies in the UK, you get an overall profile, like a full history of what it was worth, the liabilities, cash, net worth and assets. And when you look at the directors, I found Miss Belinda Louise Bailey, Mr. Raymond James Bailey, and Company Directors Limited and Temple Secretaries Limited out of 788 790 Finchley Road. The other company that was named in major media was Harley Facades Limited, and that company was 03991613. And the same husband and wife team, which, if I'll just flick over now, was Miss Belinda Louise Bailey and Raymond James Bailey, the same directors, but the company secretary was HCS Secretarial Limited and Hanover Directors Limited. And they came out of another common address that I've exposed, which is 44 Upper Belgrave Road, Clifton, Bristol. Now, if anybody wants to check the activities out of that address, they will have, well, the police should be using their big red key and battering that door down, the same as the other addresses I've named in Finchley Road. Never mind going to some depressed Benefit Street address with taking a film crew, smashing the door down, running past children with little nappies on and little yapping dogs, and coming out with £5 worth of herbal cannabis. It's a joke. This is the addresses that they need to prevent billion-pound organised crime. The facilitators. These are the people who are aiding and assisting the dirty, corrupt politicians that I've exposed.
Who are the Baileys?
Pardon?
Who are the Baileys?
Well, they were the directors of those two companies.
And what's happened to them now?
Well, obviously the company's liquidated. The Grenfell Tower inquiry is probably still on, and they'll drift into oblivion. But nobody looks at the addresses, Finchley Road or 44 Upper Belgrave Road, Clifton, Bristol. And it's looking at those addresses when you get a bigger parameter of what's going on in this country. And like I say, there's a lot of people extracting the urine out of us, and it's about time we started to take back what's been stolen from us.
So you've taken a visit to Finchley Road, have you?
100%, yeah. And other addresses in Finchley. Well, anybody can go to London and go to Finchley. Have a look at 665 Finchley Road.
665. Who's at 665?
Well, there's a gaggle of people that purport to operate out of that address, and hundreds of thousands of companies. And, well, it's just a door that hasn't been opened in many, many years, because I filmed it. The cobwebs are all over the front of the door. If you look through the letterbox, I look through, I'm taking photographs, you'll see mail packed up. But have a look at the companies that come out of 665 Finchley Road, and have a look at the controlling directors of the company formations agencies. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Right, so have you been to the one at Bristol?
Oh, yes.
Is that...
well, as I said,
yeah.
I can quite honestly say that there's many people need to be in a 6x4. And you're not going to do it all in one foul swoop. But it's about time people like Tony Blair were brought before an inquiry and asked what his involvement was when he moved Windrush Ventures out of that address into 50 Broadway. Because if you check 50 Broadway, as I have done many times over many months of research, you'll find 4 NHS companies. That was handy, wouldn't it? You know, NHS companies.
Oh, so are they actually clearing the NHS out of its funds?
Oh, would I say that? Would I say that? I'm saying that they should investigate it, and it should be a dismantlement of the operations and the companies that have gone in and out of those addresses. It's a joke. I mean...
So why is it then that the BBC and the other media outlets give people like Tony Blair so much coverage on TV? With Brexit and non-Brexit?
Why
See, the Brexit thing to a large extent is irrelevant, isn't it? It's basically corruption in the UK, in the UK government today. I lost you there.
You're actually frozen there, Caroline.
Yeah, I lost you there actually. You froze, but now you're back. So why is it?
It seems we've upset people because we've now got a poor network connection.
So, with the NHS then, I mean, it's struggling for money. You've got government officials, MPs and such like defrauding. Are they defrauding the UK taxpayer, would you say? They're defrauding the people who are putting money into their companies, surely.
Well, as I said, I researched in great depth the conduit addresses, and if anybody was to look at 5 Jupiter House, Caliver Park, Aldermaston, they would want to vomit how these people have got away with this for 30 to 40 years. Really. If you looked at the companies that came out of those addresses, as well as the Finchley Road addresses, 108 to 110 Finchley Road, 420 Finchley Road, 923 Finchley Road. I could go on, but as I said, this is a short snapshot of my research. I stand before anybody and try to tell the truth. And what I have found as a serviceman make me want to vomit. How these people, including the poor victims of the Grenfell Tower, have got no concept. I tried to meet with Justice for Grenfell. They set up a meeting, then all of a sudden they pulled away. And I'm telling you why, because you know who was the secretary or the shadow secretary for fire and security?
Who's that?
Minister Chris Williamson.
Not him again.
Yes, my friend, my coward MP friend who refused to aid and assist a constituent in her search for justice by meeting with the Foreign Office to expose intelligence officers using the City of London and 788, 790 Finchley Road to steal from people all over the world. He refused. I will have him. I make it my crusade in life that he face justice for misconduct in public office. These people.
Yeah. So let's think now. The NHS could really do with those funds back from perhaps Tony Blair's NHS companies. What are these 4 NHS companies that Tony Blair is a director of?
No. I said when he moved Windrush Ventures Limited out of 788, 790 Finchley Road, what he did, he moved to another conduit address where he set up Windrush Ventures number 1 Limited, number 2 Limited, and number 3 Limited, and then he set up other conduit companies called Fire Rush Ventures Limited, number 1, number 2, number 3. He's recently dissolved all those companies, but nobody's done a dismantlement of their operation. Nobody's brought him before an inquiry. This man is a war criminal. How he gets the time on the BBC, as I was trying to say earlier, what I'd done was looked at Lord Anthony William Hall. Now, I've got video, audio footage of me going to the BBC to explain about these Finchley Road boiler rooms or company formations agents. I'm mentioning Lord Anthony William Hall as a senior Freemason. He's a liveryman. And he comes as a senior liveryman of Painters Hall 8 and 9 Little Trinity Lane in London, which is the same address that's mentioned in the Panama Papers, and with directors of Anglesey Mining PLC and many other mining companies, all linked to the Panama Papers. So this is not hearsay. I'm asking anybody who's got the guts to confront me and say there's no substance to what I'm saying. I'm willing to go to court. I'll walk myself through a jail cell if I'm wrong. Trust me, I'm not wrong. I can show you correspondence that make them all wee-wee themselves. Don't worry.
Okay, so Gordon, what would you like to say to the audience today to complete this show?
To complete it, well, there should be justice, not just for the Falklands veterans, but for the Grenfell Tower victims, who have got no concept of how you can use follow the money dismantlement of corporate entities to understand how senior politicians, whether it be Freemasonry or whatever, I don't really care. They should face justice the same as anybody. We all have to look in the mirror in the morning. I'm trying my best, and I can look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm having a good go. I've upset a lot of people, and trust me, I'll carry on. I've got no qualms, and say, Caroline, if you can look for yourself, don't just believe what I'm saying. If you want to come and have a look at some paperwork and have a look at some correspondence to me from some very powerful people, you'll understand what drives me. It drives me because I want the truth out.
Well, I think both of us both share our sort of mission that we want to expose the truth. We do want to hold the MPs, the judiciary, to account. These are the people who are talking down to us. They're the ones who've just had it be said that Parliament is sovereign. And so now this is where the people have got to take back control. Not just you and me, but we need to get this message out. So Gordon, sorry.
I don't really care which political party gets into government. I don't really care. But those politicians who make an oath to serve this country, especially as an ex-serviceman, that they serve with honour, trust, integrity, and accountability. And if there's any reason for those people to be brought before an inquiry, they should do so and face accusations which can be substantiated. I can substantiate what I'm saying. If Amber Augusta Rudd was to walk in front of me in any street, I would confront her the same way as I've confronted many other politicians. And they've got to look at me in my eyes. I know I'm right.
And she's the lady who attended this year's Bilderberg meeting.
Exactly. I'll not go there. It's a bit complicated, that one. No, I'm not going to go there.
Okay, Gordon, thank you so much for speaking to us from the north of England. I think we're going to be meeting up very shortly, so let me have a look at your paperwork.
Wow, more than welcome.
Thank you, Gordon.
And
thank you to everybody at home for listening. As you can see, we've really got our work cut out. Please share this video before it gets taken down. I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Caroline Stevens, and this was a Stepping Stones to Awareness show. Goodbye.